Welcome back to this special edition of Inside Indiana Business. I'm Christina Hale, Executive Director of Kiwanis International Youth Programs. Each week, a group of insiders offers perspective on some of the week's top stories. But this week, we've put together a special all-female insiders panel, and I'm pleased to be joined by Women for Change, Indiana Executive Director Rima Shaheed, the Mind Trust Senior Vice President of Strategy and Community Engagement, Shaheed-Diallo, and Rolls-Royce Chief of Business Integration, Tiffany White. Welcome, ladies. Thanks for joining us. So, Indianapolis and our great state of Indiana has a very ambitious business agenda coming over the next 1 to 5 years. A lot of opportunity, but certainly, I think we all acknowledge more women are needed in the talent pool. How do we encourage and develop women to pursue positions of leadership, executive leadership, elected leadership? Tiffany, what do you think?
So we have a lot of women already in our pipeline. They're already in business. They're already in organizations like Rolls-Royce and some of the organizations you're in. What we really need to do is give them role models, give them mentors, give them sponsors. We know that when women have the opportunity to have these mentors and have these sponsors, they will want to go up the line, and they will want to have that opportunity to be in leadership roles and to be in roles of higher opportunities.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we often think about is that there needs to be a formal program to bring this about. And I think that formal programs are great, but there's also just a lot of networking we can do as women, making sure that if you're in a position, if you're at the room, you think what other woman's voice needs to be at this table. And making sure that there are opportunities to bring other women along, I think can really change what our leadership structure looks like here in the city and the state.
Yeah. I know that Billy Dragoo and former Lieutenant Governor Sue Ellspermann have long worked on getting women on corporate boards, but certainly in the corporate world, there's been quite a wage disparity. In fact, in Indiana, I think the wage gap is about 74 cents on the dollar to our male colleagues. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. Rima, what do you think about that?
I think if I remember correctly, Indiana has the 6th largest wage gap in the nation, and for minorities, we earn 44 cents to a dollar and 34 cents to a dollar to our male counterparts, and that's not acceptable. I don't think the women of Indiana, the only thing that's holding us back right now are our Indiana laws, because we have the talent, we have the capabilities, and we need to move forward as a state.
When we come to talent and talent development, what's next? Certainly education plays a big role in that. Yes. Camila, you work in this field. What are your thoughts?
So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for women within education, but also I think that the opportunities are just kind of endless in terms of where we can be and doing great work. I think that women, we've seen there's a lot of research that just says organizations are better when women's voices are included. So I think that there's a lot of research to support organizations doing that. But I think that the other part is women can do it, but we need male allies who also champion this cause. So I think we need everyone to participate in doing this. Education is one field, but there are a lot of others as well.
I also feel that if you have the opportunity, if you have a seat at the table, extend a hand down. Yeah. Extend a hand down and bring someone up with you, because we need to continue to grow this table, to continue to have more females and more women in leadership.
So absolutely. I think everyone should bring a hand down. Everybody should be mentoring somebody that doesn't look like them or think like them. We should all be mentoring someone that maybe isn't our gender or isn't our race, maybe not our sexual orientation, or maybe didn't grow up in the same way or the same place that we didn't grow up. So whether we're a man or a woman or black or white or Hispanic, we should be looking to mentor someone that isn't like us.
That's a great point, and that's certainly a casual way that we can go about a less structured program. But we also, I think, need to be concerned about positional power. Only 1 in 5 lawmakers in the great state of Indiana happen to be women. We need more. And if you do a survey around the state, we don't have enough women in executive leadership. We've never had a woman governor. We have very few women mayors. What do we do? Now, at this time, it seems we have a lot of women coming out to run for office. We have a couple of organizations like the Lugar Series and the new Hoosier Women Forward that are encouraging people, and your organization too, right, Rima?
Yes, we were very happy to have the inaugural Ready to Run, and we had around 114 participants in Ready to Run. And it was a nonpartisan to get women to run for office, and it's an exciting time. I think 2018, like you said, there's more millennials running for office, more women running for office, more minorities running for office. Something that I'm really hoping for is that we would have a woman running for senator. Indiana's never had a woman senator yet, and that's something that I'm really hoping for. And I think there's a lot of organizations that have formed, and you just have to get to know Indiana has endless talents and possibilities.
Just one other thought on the political piece. There's a lot of studies that talk about who actually runs for office. And one of the things that I found interesting about elected office is that women often don't nominate themselves.
Yes.
So they need to be asked to run. And so if there's a person in your community that you think would be a great elected official, they care about the issues, they really believe strongly and have strong positions, encourage them to run, because they often won't just put their hand up and say, I should do it.
So much like the political realm, in corporate world, women often don't ask for a promotion.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So much like the same thing, we need CEOs and men in powerful positions to reach down and say, you're a really great lady, you're going to go places, you have potential, and reach down and sponsor her and promote her up, mentor her, sponsor her, and say you can do the next role, and make her the next vice president, the next senior vice president, and get her into that position.
I'm glad to hear you say that too. And whenever I speak to groups of women, I always say the universe is tapping you on the shoulder right now. Think about it. Why not you?
Absolutely.
Whether it's in the workplace or whether it's in, the State House.
Absolutely.
But what progress do you feel we have made so far? Is it enough, or what do we need to be doing? I see a big Tiffany shaking her head no.
We are making progress. So when I graduated in engineering 25 years ago, a little while ago, there was only 10% of the graduating class were women. We're almost double that now, 25 years. So that's great, double, almost 19%. But that was 25 years ago. Not fast enough and not enough. Another statistic is 19% of Congress, U.S. Congress, that's double what it was 20 years ago. Not enough and not fast enough. And then we always hear the statistics that 5% of CEOs, Fortune 500 companies, we know that's not enough. So we got to go faster.
I think the progress is something that gives us momentum to keep going forward. I remember when I graduated from law school, I was one of the first classes where we were majority women. And
really?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
And so you think, well, that's going to change what the legal profession looks like, because you're going to actually have more women lawyers. But the entry into leadership and running law firms and having partnership track is not going fast enough. But I think that this is where there's an opportunity for women who sit on boards, who are in leadership positions, to put metrics to these things. The intention is great, but we need to have tools where we can measure progress. So when organizations have said we need X% to be women, minorities, whatever the measure is, you measure what you value. And once you put measurements to those goals, then I think you can actually make a lot of progress.
You've also all mentioned the importance of relationships in one way or another. So how do we network women for success here in our state?
I think as women, at times we tend to scare other women. It's so hard to balance work and family life. It's so hard to do this. It's so hard to do that. Instead, I think we need to empower and encourage one another. You've got this. You can do this. If I can do this, so can you. I think that's so important to me, because I know when I started to work, a lot of people were discouraging me, scaring me. You have young children. How are you going to do it? It's going to be hard. You won't have time for anything. And you know what? There's a lot you can fit into 24 hours once you're determined.
So what's a practical idea? What do you do, Tiffany? I mean, we're not taking the time to golf all afternoon. When you're mentoring, when you are supporting these younger women, down a little bit down the corporate ladder, lifting them up, where do you do it? Is it over lunch, over coffee?
Sure. So I do a lot of it over lunch. I do some of it on the phone. I am a Pass the Torch for Women 500 Circle member, specifically because I want to intentionally mentor women that don't look like me. And so I do that, but I do that over the phone, and I'm usually grabbing a sandwich while I do it. Sometimes I do it on the phone in the evenings while I'm traveling overseas. So in the evenings overseas, it's during the day here, so I can do that. So I do some of that. That's how I mentor women. or others that I can do that when I can.
But it sounds like we're all kind of prepared to step up and be superheroes for other women. Any last advice?
I think women are incredible multitaskers, so we figure out how to fit it in.
We do, don't we?
Whether it's like I invite young women over to my home while I'm with my kids, like maybe having breakfast. There's a young student in college who we were trying to find times, and I said, "Hey, could you come over on a Sunday morning?" So we can find ways to do it in the course of our regular lives, but the important thing is that it happens.
Ask for help. Ask for help from ladies like us. Ask for help from places like Women in High Tech. Ask for help from your spouse or your friends. Ask for help.
Yeah, and have each other's backs, I think, too, don't you?
Yeah. When we uplift one another, we all rise. I think that's important.
That's exactly it. When we uplift each other, we all rise.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciate you all being here today. But right now, we'll be back after this. Stay with us.